I guess.
Hello there, everyone. My name is Bruce from Braggers Creations, and welcome to Mac Yak episode number 167. I've got to tell you, that's some smooth work that we just did then.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Strong
I'm just
start.
going to make my way around this very large group that we have here at the moment. So we'll start off with you, GT from Mac Attack. What have you been up to over this past 2 weeks?
Not a whole lot. I cleaned out my CMP Saturday night. I think that CMP cleaning episode went pretty well. I think we went for almost 3 hours that night. It went a while, but I had fun doing that. Now I need to,
It was fun.
Yeah, I need to clean out my other one now. So that one's going to be the next on the hit list there.
So does that mean we have to have another one? We have to have another CMP stream?
No, I might just do that on my channel then. See, that way Jay has something he can watch because he's always begging us for the stream.
Complaining, yeah. I think probably the highlight for me was after getting the link for the show and sharing it on my socials. That stream getting switched off, so that then a new one had to get made, rendering all those original links worthless. So that was.
I have a sneaky suspicion on who hit the button there.
Well, come on, dub him in.
Well, he's not here, but I would say it would be Grudy. Or was it you?
No, it definitely wasn't me. It happened before I got there.
I think it was Grudy because he was having issues, and all of a sudden he disappeared. And just as soon as he disappeared, that little thing popped up on the thing. Because
okay, all right. Well, anyhow, at least we managed to get people turning up anyway. Jay from the House of Moth,
Hi.
welcome. Have you
you
been doing anything interesting over the last 2 weeks? Apart from having cats fall off tables.
Figured I'd get that out of the way first. I have not. I was at the Mac Pro special last Saturday. Spent 3 hours working on my Mac Pro, only to have it run just as hot and just as noisy. So that was a great success. Apart from that, new job training. So I'm still not doing anything apart from that. It's coming though. I ordered a goodie off of eBay that hopefully I get to work on soon.
what did you order?
That's locked in now. You've made the commitment. We will be expecting a live stream when that goodie arrives.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what the goodie is, or is it a secret?
It's a board.
And
Is it a beige board?
Hell no. Come on. Who are you talking to? Come on.
I'm guessing that it will be a board that doesn't currently work, and you are going to try and make it otherwise.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep. Should be fun. Might not make for a very long stream, but something to get me back into the groove of things.
Excellent. That's good to hear. We like Jay in the groove. As I mentioned before, I'm Bruce from Braggers Creations. I was also at the Classic Mac Pro cleaning live stream, which I'm amazed people watch, but they did. And thank you to you all. That's fantastic. That shows commitment. And I'm now staring at the little temperature sensors here and seeing my Classic Mac Pro running a lot cooler than it used to after a bit of repasting of the CPUs and the Northbridge. And of course, because this is how it's done, I used a good solid half a tube of Arctic Silver on there. Because you've just got to get as much thermal paste on there as possible. That's the trick. No one tells you that, but that's the trick. Just as much thermal paste as you can squeeze out of that tube. That's the
pretty much.
CPU.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine right now. I'm running 40 degrees on my. I have it set for the average temperature of both CPUs, so it's like 41 degrees, and then the Northbridge is running at 59. So.
Cool.
And for those that didn't watch it, I have one photo I would like to share.
I think I know what this is going to be.
Let's see. Share screen, window, this one. This beauty right here.
Oh, yeah.
This was one of the Mac Pros that got a little bit of love on the stream and desperately needed it too. I'm not going to say whose it was.
Well, let's put it this way.
Enough.
It was a 3,1. That narrows it down.
If you look up the word neglect in the dictionary, there is a picture of that in there.
Yep.
No, if you look up the word growth, that's
No,
it's,
that's
But it should be mentioned that Bruce, you have a 4.1 or a 5.1?
a 5.1. Mine is an actual genuine article 2012.
2012. So a 10-year-old Mac that got its very first repaste this last Saturday, right?
Absolutely, that's correct.
So
Yep.
10 years of not doing any repasting.
Yeah, yep. That's
And what kind
right.
of temperature differences are you seeing?
If I'd have paid more attention to what it was before, I'd probably be able to tell you. But I think I'm probably about 20 degrees C lower, something like that.
That's a lot.
Well, that's
when
pretty
it's-
good, actually.
When it's under load. I think it's idling maybe a little bit less. So, we're at the moment. What am I using? I'm reasonably loading at the moment. There's a fair bit of blue on the little chart. So, but yeah. So I'm happy. I mean, look, even if it made no difference at all, I'm still happy to have performed the maintenance. So.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, mine is low because I keep the fan curve up pretty high as well on the TG Pro. So, I think Jay does the same thing. I don't like.
Oh yeah, my fans are right now. Hopefully you can't hear my Mac, but it's always noisy in here, and I'm still running 50 degrees Celsius on pretty much every component in there.
Yeah.
This thing runs hot no matter what.
I just go with the standard fan settings. I mean, if one day someone convinces me to do otherwise, I might. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, we'll tackle that argument after we teach you how to eat a proper lasagna.
Yeah, not with
I'm telling you,
barbecue sauce.
You haven't tried my lasagna, so you can't make any judgments about the way I eat it.
See, I grew up religious, and one of the things that gets you in hell is putting barbecue sauce on lasagna. So I will never try it.
Well, I contend that I suspect it's a different sort of barbecue sauce to what you would. You put tomato sauce on a lasagna?
It's
Well,
in the lasagna.
it's in the lasagna.
Yeah, well, so then, let me put it another way. Let me put this into. I will translate into American. Would you put ketchup on lasagna?
No.
Okay, I would.
Doesn't surprise me one bit.
You put barbecue sauce on, so we
I'm
expect
telling you, life is too short not to use condiments. I mean, condiments are the most important thing. But what did get me, and as I mentioned this to you guys once before, what did get me was the question asking about whether it was, a tomato-based barbecue sauce or a something else-based barbecue sauce. So we really only have tomato-based barbecue sauces out here. So, yeah. But as I said, until you've tried my lasagna with barbecue sauce, you can't make any sort of judgment because
Judgment is made.
Judgment.
Food heaven. It is absolute food heaven. So
No.
and I also put pineapple on pizza. So there you go.
Oh, just had to go there.
Get along there, yeah.
Just look, it has to be said. Here in Australia, if you order a hamburger with the lot, so if you go in and say to a hamburger joint and say, I'll have a hamburger with the lot, you'll get, obviously, a hamburger bun with sesame seeds on the top. You'll get lettuce, tomato, onion, cheese, bacon, a fried egg, and a little round thing of pineapple on the top, and barbecue sauce. So
Patrick's not liking that, so
fairly sizable thing, but that is
all right. So Mac Yak. Anyway,
Mac Yak. Let's come back to Mac Yak. We have some topics. Oh, I should also just mention we do have a few absences here. Steve, he's on vacation at the moment. I think he is due back today from memory.
And where is he?
Somewhere that's not.
Here.
I don't know. Somewhere nice. Somewhere with a nice ocean breeze. You're asking me. I'm in Australia. How would I know?
You brought it up.
Grudy is not here because it's Grudy. Dana will be joining us a little bit later on. And has anyone heard from Mike? Has anyone checked in on Mike? Has anyone knocked on the door to make sure he's still with us?
He was here Saturday for our CMP cleaning. So.
Yeah. So
Well, a lot
anyhow.
can happen between then and now.
That's true.
Mike is not here. Could be halfway done eating it.
Mike's not here because we haven't heard from him. But
Yeah.
Hope you're well, Mike.
Yep.
Steve's
the
normally
cats are
the one
not
that
eating
checks
you.
up on him. So because the fact that Steve's not here, he hasn't been checked up on. So we do hope that he's okay. Okay, so that's explaining all of the absences. Let's get on to some topics.
Let's do it.
Okay, so how criminals are using Apple AirTags. Who knows about this story? Because I don't.
Well, there's a YouTube video, but do we want to go ahead and play it?
I'm
Are we
actually
allowed to?
okay with playing it. I think it's 3 or 4 minutes, but it's important information from a good source. So
All right, well, let me pull it up, and I will try to see if it'll play through here.
man, I already uploaded it.
Oh, did you? Oh, never mind.
yeah, I read the notes.
All right, hold on. Let's see. Let me get over here.
Oh, what the hell?
Snap.
What?
I told you I was coming.
No, you didn't.
Said you might be coming. It's
All
not
right.
the same thing.
So
Okay, well, before we go any further, we have to do the introductions thing. Grudy from Rutgay Mods, welcome. What have you been up to for the last several weeks?
Well, I was on vacation last week, and I went and saw Colin Mister, aka DOS Dude 1. I've got a bunch of videos coming. In fact, I just finished the video I'm about to upload in a few minutes. I'm looking at it right now. It's not a Colin video. It's one I filmed right before I left, literally the day before I left. And I'll be releasing that one right before I start doing the Colin releases, which I still have to finish up some videos here for those. But I've got a number of videos pre-filmed and ready to almost be done. So
So
Well,
I'm
I'll tell
hesitant
you
to
what.
ask, but are you back?
yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
all right, so we want to play
Okay,
this
so
video,
we're about to
or
watch this video.
all right,
Let's
we're
go.
ready to go. Here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Marco Ricciardi from 22 Division Toronto Police. I'm here with my partner, Tom Balaga. We're here to talk about a new product, or fairly new product. It's been about a year in the market, and it's about the Apple AirTags. And these little things here are being used to mark a vehicle, and what the thieves are doing is that they're walking around, they're shopping outside in the parking lot here, and what they're doing is that when they find a car that they like, they stick these to the car or place them on the car somehow. And they're magnetic, so as you can see, it'll stick to metal, so it could be hidden behind a license plate, it could be hidden in the trailer hitch receiver, or even in a gas tank cap area. And once you go home, they just track their device to your driveway, and then when you're sleeping comfortably, they come and steal your car or truck. So what we want to let you know is some of the things to do to prevent this from happening. So I'm going to start with iPhone users. If you get a notification saying that there's an AirTag near you, what you can do is you can use the location service of your phone to pinpoint the proximity of the AirTag, and then once you have that AirTag, you can disable it. If there's one of these on your vehicle, I recommend that you call your local police department, and the officers will come seize it. This little shiny part here and this little plastic part, we could possibly get fingerprints off it and know who's been putting this on your car. You can also deactivate it by just twisting it and pulling the battery out. The only thing that's in here is a simple watch battery. The battery on these lasts anywhere from 6 months up to 1 year of trackability. So to help other people that are using non-Apple phones, Apple created an Android version of an app called Tracker Detect. And what it does is, if an Apple AirTag is around you for more than 20 minutes, you can download this app and you can scan the area that you're in to see if one of these has been dropped into your pocket, into your purse, stuck to your car, and after that 20-minute period has elapsed, the app will pick up because of the Bluetooth frequency that it uses, and then you can zone in on the tag and locate it. What you can also do is you can purchase your own tags and put them inside your property so that you can track it back. Also, there's many other things that we can do to prevent your vehicle from being stolen, along with lights and cameras and everything else. Get something visible. Get a visible deterrent. So either get a steering wheel lock that either blocks your steering wheel from side to side, or something that goes over your dash so you can't actually turn the steering wheel. Get an OBD2 port blocker, which is the onboard diagnostic port that's used to connect to your car. Get a blocker for that, or you can actually relocate it in your dash somewhere else. Get a professional to do that if you can't, if you don't know how to do it yourself. And then lastly, start covering your VIN at night while your vehicle is parked in the driveway. Not all thefts or all vehicles require that, but if you're not sure, cover it anyways. Just make sure you can remove that yourself when asked, let's say by a police officer. If you're ever stopped, you could remove that, or even if you come to the mall, just cover your VIN, so then that way it makes it harder for thieves to steal your car. So what I would suggest, if there's a lot of information here, do a search online regarding Apple AirTags, Samsung Smart Tags, and GPS tracking devices to see how you can use that for your benefit. You can also learn how people are using it for their benefit. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for following us. Thanks for watching, and have yourself a great day.
Okay, that's some good information, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is
I
definitely
mean-
some good information. Now, I would like to just a little quick shout out to Eric, because I think he's definitely on the money. I agree with him totally. Eric from Eric's Edge. The best thing to do is just own a crappy car that no one wants to steal. That to me is the best way to go about avoiding these sorts of issues.
Grudy, you're out of luck because you own that nice shiny car there, Corvette.
No, he totaled it.
Well, unless he told it within like the last 5 days.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is just for cars. Of course, we may have all heard the stories about people sneaking these into purses, even in kids' backpacks, and all kinds of places you don't want these AirTags to show up. I think, I haven't read up on this, but I believe Apple has done an update that allows you to more precisely locate these AirTags. If there's an AirTag moving with you that is not yours, you should get a notification saying that there's an AirTag moving with you when you're on the move, and it's not your AirTag. But yeah, it's something to look out for. You know, it's great technology. I hear those pings all day long because my wife uses her
Well-
phone, her watch to find her phone, and then uses her phone to find her car keys, and they all beep
Yeah.
the same. It's great.
It is. Look, one thing I just mentioned, it sort of as an aside with the AirTag, is there were, before Apple entered the market, there were, I think, two main players. There was one called Tile and another one called Tracker, TRAKR, or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Now, I did have one of these, and I found them to be completely ineffective. Never owned a Tile, but the one that I did own found to be completely ineffective. Yes, you'd get it, set it up, you'd ping it a few times, and you go, "Isn't that awesome?" When it came time that I would actually lose something, it would never find the device. I would go in and try and locate it and try and make it ping, and you would just get nothing from it. And that I found to be a real frustration. What I've found with these AirTags is they have been 100% reliable thus far. I've been using them now for quite a while. I have one in my wallet, and I have one attached to my keys, and I found them to be very, very good. That, you know, I mean, I'm tempted to buy more and actually attach them to more things that I keep losing. But yeah, I mean, they're an absolutely fantastic way of finding things that go missing.
Well,
Did you want to...
yeah, one thing though I got to say about that is because I can't have them for a reason, because where my wife works at, she works in a secure facility, and she can't even have her phone in this facility. So she leaves her phone out in the car. She cannot have headphones like this because they have microphones built into them in that facility.
I think that's probably the exception, though. I suspect
Yes.
most people don't have those sorts of limitations.
So
Just following up what Adam McGee said, they are definitely not magnetic.
yeah,
So he told an out and out lie. So that's coming from law enforcement in your country. I just want you to know he's a liar.
well, it's stuck to his little metal baton there. So, but
I think the baton actually had a magnet on it on the bottom.
But
Flashlight.
get back to my wife though, is that where she works at, she can't bring her keys with the AirTag in there because it transmits a signal. Anything that transmits a signal, she cannot bring into
Yeah, well,
her facility.
as I said, I think
Yeah.
you're talking about a very small percentage
yeah.
of the population here. I think when it comes to most people, they don't have those sorts of restrictions on what.
I mean,
what
I don't
things they
have on me, but if I put air tags on stuff and she accidentally, like say for instance, I put the air tags on my Camaro keys and she takes the Camaro that day, she could potentially get in trouble for bringing a device into,
Now,
That is
there is-
excellent. That is, if she ever serves you lasagna with barbecue sauce on it, you just slip an air tag into her purse, watch you get in trouble.
So,
hey, I need her income, man.
there was one thing in that I found really interesting and I was not aware of, is the fact that there is an Android app that you can install that detects whether you're being followed around by an AirTag, which I think obviously if there are any Android users out there, they should definitely go in and do that. I mean, I was always aware of the app that tells you if an AirTag is following you, and that is your main line of defense. Apple have already thought it out, but obviously if you're an Android user, get that app and install it and do the same. Jay, anything else to follow up on this one?
Not really. I was just looking at the notes and how we have to skip the next one until Dana gets
Until Dana arrives. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we guess we'll
Dana's
skip that one.
or actually do something.
Sort of. He
Well,
wants.
he's doing more than you're doing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, look, on the whole, I think the AirTags are an absolutely fantastic little thing.
Oh, yeah.
They're really good for people like me who just end up leaving things in silly places, and then you can just sort of ping it and find it. And I think as long as those, security precautions are taken, I think you can keep yourself pretty safe. And as I say, yeah, just buy a really boring car, and then no one's going to worry about stealing it. So,
No.
yeah.
I
mean-
don't. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No,
Just
go ahead.
buy a sleeper. Just what you do is you get a car that looks really dull on the outside, but you put an absolutely awesome engine in it.
Yeah.
So,
Grudy,
Sorry.
you don't have either one of those things in some of your vehicles, so
Well, I don't really know a whole lot about AirTags. I've never actually bought one or actually even held one. So I'm a little clueless with all this except how they work, sort of. I know they ping off of iPhones and stuff, and that's about all I know about them. So,
Well, you stick one in your beard, and as long as your phone is telling you you're being followed, it means you need a shave.
there was an interesting little story when they very first came out that the method they used to communicate, you can actually piggyback onto that and actually use them to access the internet for free, but it's like slower than dial-up, so it's not really worth it. But okay, so we will move on. So we'll move on to not the next topic, but the one after. Okay, so this is one I think Jay came up with this one, so I will let him introduce it. We love the Mac OS. Why?
We
Jay.
do, and this is more. There's plenty to complain about. There's plenty we don't like, or at least I don't like, especially with what it's becoming and has become. But even with all those complaints, why are we still using macOS? And I was curious what all of us and everybody in the chat, what are your two main reasons for sticking with macOS? Whether it's a Hackintosh or Apple hardware, it's about macOS. For me, it is the stability that if I experience a crash, it's because of my own doing, because I was messing around in terminal or I was moving and touching files I shouldn't have been touching. The stability and the look and feel. And this is something that I've always found, and especially now that I'm using PC again for work, everything on the screen of Windows looks very crisp, especially the text. It looks extraordinarily crisp, and I hate it. I prefer the, what do you call it?
Anti-aliasing.
Yeah, I
Anti-aliasing,
prefer
yeah.
that, which the Mac offers. That's a very big thing for me. It's Mac OS is easy on the eyes, basically.
Yep. Okay. How about you, Grudy? What can you?
I use it mainly for the seamless simplicity of it and media creation abilities. It's just it's just easier to use. And the reason why I didn't use it back in the day was because, well, one thing, I was a kid, and second thing was it at the time I didn't think it had any games for it, and I was really into gaming on PC. But you know, now I'm not really into games, and they do have a lot of games, but it's just easier to make stuff on a Mac than it is a PC, bar none.
Yep, I would agree with that. How about you, GT? What are your two main
let's
reasons?
see. My two main
If
reasons.
you go to 3, I don't mind.
Yeah. I probably could come up with about 3, but one of my biggest reasons, and I'll say it, Steve Jobs said this a long time ago, it just works. Okay. I got into Mac OS back, let's see, during, I think it was Leopard. I bought my first MacBook Air, even though Jay doesn't like them. And that's where I bit my teeth into the modern day Mac OS. And I tell you what, I was a big Windows 7 user at the time, and Windows 7 was a pretty good operating system for Microsoft. That was probably their best one. However, I found that Mac OS was much easier to get to use and to understand and find things to work with it and everything. So yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons why I did it. And the second reason is basically, like Jay says, it's the stability of the system. The system, I have it running 24/7 on this Mac Pro here, and I don't think I've ever really had a crash. In fact, I can't even remember the last time this thing crashed, except for when, like Jay said, when I'm doing something under the hood that I shouldn't have been poking around and did something wrong. But you do that to Windows. I mean, Windows will sit there and crash on you constantly, even if you just look at it wrong, it'll crash sometimes. But I have yet to have a Mac crash hard on me. And we're talking, like I said, this is a 2009 Mac Pro. So that's 13-year-old computer that it still works without crashing. So that's just me.
Fight.
Yeah, it looks like Joe is trying to make an argument for Windows stability here, which he might struggle that argument with Jay after what he's been through over the last few weeks.
All I know is that the man had a MacBook Air, and surprise, surprise, it broke.
Well, isn't he using it like screenless or something?
Who is?
No, I put a screen on it. He did a live stream on that. Come
Yeah,
on.
Joe. Yeah.
Okay, here's another good reason of Mac OS. Mac
Is
OS
that your
doesn't
second or
force-
third?
Third. It'll be the third. So because Joe just kind of reminded me of this. I don't have to update my Mac OS if I don't want to.
That's true.
Windows forces you to do it now. You have no choice to do updates.
Well, you can defer updates if you
You
have.
could
Pro.
defer, but you cannot stop the updates.
Well, you can
Okay.
continue to defer for a very, very long time.
Only if you're a pro user. If you're a Windows Home user, you
You can't
cannot.
with
You have
Home,
no choice.
Yep.
Okay, so
What about you, Bruce?
Look, I agree with pretty much everything that's been said here. The look for me, Windows always looks like it was they did the interface with Microsoft Word, whereas on the Mac it was like it was done by a designer. Windows has just always had a very, I don't know, sort of unprofessional look about it. I don't know, just as I say, things like the anti-alias fonts, but even just the way it is designed has always been a lot more pleasing to the eye. The ecosystem is very important once you kind of get locked into that, and of course that's Apple's plan. I mean, once you get locked into that, everything just ties together. And so if you are someone who is happy to be taken on that ecosystem journey, there are people that don't. There are a lot of people say, no, that is not the way I want to do it, and that's why I don't like Apple, because this is the way Apple tells me to do it, and they won't let me defer from that. But the way I have this house set up with the various Apple devices, everything just works. And so that is a really major plus. Now, I work with Windows computers, but I either work with them in sort of like remote, sort of using remote access, or using what is it, like Parallels, that sort of thing. But when I go in and use them, there are little things that just kind of bother me. I mean, one of them, and this may only be because I'm using the things in remote environments, is if you've got multiple windows and you want to use the scroll wheel to scroll up and down, you have to select the window for the scroll wheel to work. Whereas on a Mac, you just need the cursor over the window. So if you want to scroll wheel that window,
true.
you just put the cursor over it and scroll it. This one, you just put the cursor over and scroll it. With Windows, you actually got to select the window to tell it you want to scroll wheel it. And that, to me, such a small thing, is the biggest pain in the backside when I go to actually use a Windows computer. It's something that I find really, really noticeable. But look, I don't want to actually, the purpose here isn't really to bash Windows. It's more about
Yes,
why
it
I
is.
like Mac OS.
Come
It's
on.
always a good time for that, though. Yeah.
I've actually been using, Macs for such a long time now that you do actually get to the point where you kind of have to stop and say, well, why? Is it just because I've been using them so long? I mean, what is it? What is that thing? What is that, or things that make me keep using it? But pretty much everything that everyone has said here, things like the look, the stability, and the ecosystem. Those are, that's three things, not two, but they are the things we've all
Come on,
mentioned.
you got four?
So
Can I add a third?
Yeah, go for it.
yes,
And this kind of goes with it just works, but the integration with the hardware. I set that thing up. I spent 3 days looking for a driver for the built-in freaking keyboard. That computer
Yep.
did not know what was on it. That is the most ridiculous thing ever. And I get it. There's
I agree.
millions more of PC manufacturers than there's for Mac hardware. I get it.
Yeah.
But come on, dude.
Well,
No.
it's always been the argument, hasn't it, is that you go with something that works with any form of generic hardware. The plus side to that is you're going to keep your hardware costs down because anyone can make the hardware and you can put your computer together from bits and pieces, and then you install an operating system on it and away you go. Okay, there's an argument for that, and that is definitely a cost-based argument. But then sort of on the flip side, you then go with Apple, where it's all a closed environment and they control everything. And the downside to that is that you are at the whims of Apple as to what you're going to end up paying for things. But the upside to that is that they get to write everything so that it all works together. And, there was a time, maybe around the 1990s, where I would have said that Apple's way was the wrong way. But now in this day and age where Apple have, grown to be one of the biggest companies in the world, I think we can fairly safely say that their way is quite valid. And they have actually done incredibly well from it. So
It's Dana.
hey, Dana,
Hi, Dana.
I would like to welcome
Hello.
Dana from Dana Does Stuff here to the show. Have you been doing anything interesting over the past couple of weeks?
He never does stuff.
And no, I haven't is not an answer.
No, I have not.
There we go. There we go.
Hey, he was there Saturday with us at our CMP cleaning.
Yeah, and I did absolutely nothing.
Exactly,
You
but you were
chickened
still
out.
there.
I tried.
Because- That's because we wouldn't let him near pliers.
I tried getting. I'll take it back. I was able to back up everything I needed to back up that day, but I didn't get any of the software installed.
What microphone are you on? Because you sound like extra loud.
Super
Really?
extra loud.
Sounds fine to me, but
No, I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds echoey. I mean, like hollow.
While he figures that out, can I quickly say there was a lot of talk of software updates when we were talking about this on Windows and on Mac. Software updates have completely gone to shit on Mac OS in the last few years. You download an update now, the download speed depends on your internet, but then it needs half an hour to clear. care what. What's next?
Exactly.
All the
Jay, have you actually done a Windows update lately? It takes
I leave-
forever.
yeah,
How does this
but
sound?
That's better.
software updates.
Good.
I've always heard that Linux had the best software update mechanism because it didn't even force you to restart most of the time, which Apple typically does with anything system related. But now that even a basic software update is a minimum of half an hour, that's no.
Yeah, but you
I don't
also
like it.
got to remember, Mac only usually restarts once. Windows usually restarts like 50 times. While it's up.
Not since they started baking in the firmware updates. You can typically expect 2 restarts at least.
Well, it's pretty bad though with Windows, and since we're going on this, we could talk to this topic a little bit. But Windows, when I update, because I have to update graphics drivers most of the time on my PC, I have to update other stuff that, drivers and stuff like that. And every time you update a driver on Windows, you have to restart it. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, at least on Mac, you don't get updates as often as you do on Windows, which is a good thing. And like I said before, is you're not forced to actually install those updates if you don't want to. For instance, I'm still running, 13, I forget which version I'm running. It's Monterey, but it's not the latest version because I'm still
13.2.
on 13.3, I believe. No, 12.3.1.
Yeah, whatever.
So why don't you just set up your Windows
got the
updates to do
numbers
it
right, at
overnight?
least.
Here's the thing, Dana. That's what I'm talking about is we are forced to do it. What if we don't want to do it?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. If it works,
I wouldn't
why
know. I don't
break
use it.
Yeah, I mean, all we basically know here is that we are right and Joe is wrong.
yeah,
There's not really
Nah,
much.
nah.
you saw that.
We love you, Joe. You know that. So, yeah. So, what if I don't want to use it?
See, Joe's just
here's
picking fights.
Yeah. See, the thing is that Joe is actually making the argument that we referred to is the fact that yes, okay, if you want to go with an operating system that supports a whole range of hardware out there, then yes, you go with Windows, you go with Android. You know that's what you do. But there is a downside to that, and that's what we were basically talking about. So.
I have to answer Joe's question here where it's on the screen here. I want to use something other than Apple's hardware. I'm forced to use it. No, you're not. Because guess what? You could put Linux on that machine. Anything that runs Windows will run Linux. You're not forced to run Windows.
And the rabbit hole goes deeper again.
Exactly.
The thing is that you can make arguments for both sides, and that was basically what I was trying to do at the beginning anyway. And that ultimately there is a trade-off. With you go down Windows, you go down that particular path. You go down with Apple, you go down with that particular path. And with Apple, you're going to get locked into their hardware. But on the bright side, they're going to be tied together really well. With Windows, sure, you can use any hardware, but you may not necessarily get the same performance, and you may not necessarily get the same user experience, and you may have to spend forever trying to get your computer to recognize the mouse you just plugged in, or whatever the case may be. So,
Well,
okay.
I mean, well, we could talk about a little bit about Linux here in the next, because it actually kind of lends into our next topic there, Bruce.
It does.
No, Sean ain't here. We're not doing Linux Yak.
No, not that, but it's kind of part of what this is. And I got
Well,
some
should we do the topic that we saved up?
No, we can do that after this one, because this one kind of melds into this one, I think.
Yeah.
And then we could go to the other topic.
Or we could just do the other one. No, I think we should potentially break up between these two topics because I don't think they should necessarily blur into the next one. But if you want, GT, we can.
You're the host.
Okay, so anyhow, I am going to jump back and do the topic that we skipped over before, which we are saying farewell to iPhone 6s support. And there is someone here in this little group of 5 who really liked his iPhone 6. So, what do you what do you like about the iPhone 6 so much, though?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
The form factor, the weight, the longevity of it. I mean, they supported that phone longer than. Oh, I'm full screen now. They supported this phone longer than any other smartphone made to date. So you figure what they came out in 2015,
Yeah.
and they just ended support here last month or this month.
So 7 years.
So, or actually, they haven't quite yet because 16 still isn't out, right?
Yeah.
So, but when it does, that will be the end for the poor iPhone 6. That doesn't
So-
mean people won't be using them for quite a while yet, but
I mean, didn't they also kill off the 7? I think.
probably.
Yeah.
A toast to the iPhone 6. The worst design.
Why would you toast with that?
the
garbage?
worst everything about a phone was the iPhone 6.
Wasn't the iPhone
I will
6?
I will
gate?
not miss you. I'm glad you're dead.
The only
I'll
thing
forget
that
you
sucks
existed.
about these is they continuously eat through the batteries. You had to keep replacing
They
them.
do that, yes.
Yeah.
Didn't they?
But
Yeah,
other
yes,
than
they do.
that,
Didn't they bend?
it was no.
If you
not the
sat on them.
6S. The 6 would bend pretty easily, but these
So
were
it's
pretty
the-
good.
It's the same form factor as the 7, is that correct? It's with the rounded sides.
Roughly the same, but with no headphone jack.
Right.
Yeah. Remember the 6S is the last one with the headphone jack.
Yeah. Okay. And so that was an A9 chip, I think, from memory, and still, because they were still selling this up until very recently, weren't they?
About 2
Didn't it?
years
Wait.
ago, roughly.
Didn't iPhone 8 have a headphone jack? I can't
No.
remember if it did or not. Did it?
Mm.
6S was the last.
Yes, because I got the 7, so I got the first
Well, I had
one.
the 8.
That was another reason I liked it so much.
Started
I could
all
just-
those.
I could just plug in any headphones I have to it and,
Yep.
and off I go.
I
And
loved
it's
that
it's
video.
light enough that it fits in a shirt pocket without making you feel like your clothes are falling down.
It's a
And,
good point.
If I take
While I,
that 13 Pro
Vinny.
Max that I have now and I try and put it in my shirt pocket, and it's just like, oh.
The old
While
mini.
I say something about the design of the current phone and past phones,
We're not
can
talking about
someone
that.
ban Vintage Hillbilly Shack for dissing my drink? If the phone has rounded corners or
I dissed
rounded
your drink.
edges, I should say, it's garbage. That includes the first few generations. And then the 4 got good, the 5 was great, the 6, it all went to hell. And what was it, the XR? XS? Or whatever, whichever one came back with. Was it the 12? Was that the first one that had that lost the rounded edges again? I don't
The
remember.
11, I think.
11, yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know what. Yeah, it was the 11 because the 10S still had it.
Then it became good again.
Sorry,
Well,
what
I
was
mean,
missing?
to be honest with you, I don't like the sharp edges on all the phones. I actually do like the rounded edges on
I
those
agree.
phones
I do.
I do too.
because holding it in your hand is much more comfortable than holding these phones we got nowadays. Even
Can't
if
do
you put
this
it,
with a 13 or a 12.
yeah, I mean,
Really?
Well, yeah,
What
you
were you doing?
can. It's just not really easy, especially when it's.
You're like, you're doing this.
Yeah.
What were you doing? Is it like spinning around?
Yeah, just rolling it around. Well, you got a case on yours, don't you? Yeah.
yeah, but see, if you put a case with rounded edges, then it's fine. But the phone itself without a case is just not comfortable to hold.
What are you, a
Yeah,
hand model?
I agree.
Come
It's
on.
not very comfortable.
I would never use a phone without a case. I'm
See,
right.
I used this for what 6 years without a case,
Wow.
and there's not a scratch on it or a crack or anything.
So I have a great little iPhone story. This
one
happened
does
to
have
a
a
good
case.
happened to a good friend of mine. So anyhow, he tended not to have cases on his phone and broke them. I repaired quite a few screens for him, and that's all fine. But anyhow, one day he happened to have his phone in his shirt pocket
Hmm.
and leaned over while using the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it had a swim.
Wait, now what kind of phone is it?
The one that fell out of the pocket, I can't remember. It's a while
Okay,
ago.
because this one, if I put it in my pocket and I lean forward to do anything, it'll just. But that 6S would stay in there. But
Yeah, I
the
mean,
best phone ever though was the one that came after the 6,
the 7.
the SE.
Yeah.
Smaller, square edges, perfect. I would still have that phone today if they would have updated that same form factor with, faster chip, better camera and stuff. Best phone.
Yeah. Eric liked the Windows phone.
All right,
that was,
Eric is banned.
That was a market success, that one.
Actually, Mike was pretty happy with Windows Phone.
Actually, a lot of people that had the Windows Phone actually liked it. It's just no one bought them. So the people that bought them liked it, but they were the few people that liked it because they had them.
Oh, Mike may be joining us.
Uh-oh. He heard Windows Phone.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, I think, still uses a 6S, so this should be interesting. If he ever
Even
shows
with
up.
this case, it's kind of rounded, but it's still not comfortable.
Yeah.
Mike is here.
I noticed that Sean's in the chat. He must have heard us say Linux before, so we've given him
Yeah.
enough time to have it. So we're gonna. Where's my? Okay, Mike's here.
He must be. He must not have pants on.
I'm here.
Audio on.
No, I got
Yeah.
pants on.
How are you, Mike?
Oh, not too good. I don't feel good, but
That's like,
I want to come on and make my presence known.
oh, good. Okay. Well, your presence is known. Have
Nothing
you done
like cares
anything?
about my presence, but at least now it's known.
Has anything interesting been happening lately?
To me,
Yes. I have asked everyone, and I'm now asking.
we had a thunderstorm the other night that took out power to like half the south central Pennsylvania.
And half of
one of my
Western-
drivers almost hit a bear yesterday.
Ooh, fun.
he did hit a bear, or he almost hit a bear.
He almost hit a bear. Oh, thank God he didn't hit the bear.
Yeah.
My God, we've sunk enough money into repairing cars this year.
That would be impossible to bear. Sorry. Sorry, did I just say that?
Yes,
You did, and I giggled like a schoolgirl.
That sounds like a dad joke.
It was,
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
I'm old enough to be a dad, even if I'm not one.
Other than that, no, nothing much has really happened. So
So, what do you think of the iPhone 6s, Mike?
I love it.
Mm,
Best iPhone ever.
All right, good to hear from you, Mike. Goodbye.
I still have mine actually.
See, told you.
Yeah.
yeah.
I still use it too. It's my work phone.
But
See,
the
told
topic
you.
of
Why am
someone
I
in the
supposed
chat
to be
mentioned
am I
Windows
supposed to
Phone.
be some kind of negative influence in this discussion now?
Oh, no.
No, we were just
Mike,
saying. We made a
You
note
you've
that
mentioned in the past that you like Windows Phone too, right?
Yeah, actually I do. It was
What's
actually
so
a
great
really
about that?
phone.
See, told you.
I think Windows Phone was nothing like Windows on a computer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I played with it a few times.
thank God.
Yeah.
It was. I tell you what, if you guys actually like used it when it was still, well, it was never popular, but yeah, I mean, I had a lot of Windows phones. They were actually really good phones. Probably because they were made by Nokia. The things were like nearly indestructible.
It's true. Yeah.
I love my Nokias. I mean, this was before smartphones, but my Nokias were awesome.
Oh, even the ones that ran Windows Phone were still pretty damn good.
Okay, well, I think we've given the iPhone 6s a decent send off. Does anyone have any words they would like to add as we, we say
Apple
goodbye to
sucks.
the 6s?
Rest in peace. I hope to never have to repair any one of you ever again.
Oh, well,
They're actually really easy to fix.
They're
Yeah,
very
they're
easy to
also
break,
really
too.
easy to change the battery out in, thankfully.
Mm.
Yeah.
all right, well, let's move on to our next topic. And this is, again, I think this is another one that was came from the brain of Jay. And this is, we're going to talk about the terminal. So, obviously, as we know, Jay, did you want to introduce this one, or are you happy for me to?
Jay doesn't know what the terminal is.
Well, a little backstory. Every Wednesday night before MacYack, typically around 2 or 3 a.m., there is this ping, and you check, and someone will say, we don't have any topics for tomorrow. What should we do about this? So we all just start jotting stuff down in the notes, and whatever sticks. And this was one of them. So yeah, I was curious because right now I'm doing a lot of work in Linux, in the command line. But I have always avoided the terminal like the plague on a Mac. I haven't touched it. Maybe once for disk utility related stuff, but that's it. I avoid it. Now it's my job. I spend pretty much 80% of my day in the terminal on Linux. So I figured maybe I should start exploring the terminal on Mac as well. What does it have to offer? What kind of features are hidden there that I don't know about that I could benefit from? So I was wondering if anyone has ever played with it.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Jay. You're going to find it very shocking that all those commands you're using in Linux right
Bless
now
you.
will pretty much work in the Mac terminal as well. Because, like within the notes here, yeah, I see that. It's based on Unix, and that's what Linux is based on too. So pretty much every command that you can use in Linux will pretty much work on a Mac. I mean,
Most
pretty
of
much.
them,
Yeah.
Most of them.
In fact, I have actually taken a Linux, somebody that wrote a program for Linux. I had the source code, and I was able to compile it to work on a Mac. I mean, that's how easy it is. Use the terminal. You have to use the terminal to do all that stuff. So, but there's a lot of neat little things you can do with the terminal. I mean, if you just do a Google search, I mean, there's tons of little tricks and stuff that people use terminal for all the time.
Well, one of the things, obviously, that is written in the notes here, it's the important thing is the fact that Mac OS 10 has been built on top of Unix, and of course that's one of the reasons why we have such good multitasking and such good stability in the operating system, because it is running on top of. We've got a nice, pretty little graphics user interface sitting on top of the Unix operating system, but of course all of that complexity still exists there in the command line, and there can be, like for instance, one example was when back in the days when Macs stopped chiming for a little while. You could apparently switch the chime back on with a command in the terminal. Mm-hmm. So you have all those sorts of things. Now here's another thing. I've got a Mini that I use as a server, and I've actually got Linux running on it, and I had to look up and find a command line, like a command that would actually allow that computer to automatically switch itself on if there's a power outage. Something you could do nice and easily on the Mac OS, but running on Linux, I ended up having to do that on the terminal. But I also just want to quickly mention something that was mentioned in here was the old brew or homebrew, for people who aren't aware of it. There are lots of applications, and utilities and stuff that you can install on the Mac that may not have a user interface. They may only have command line options. Some of the sorts of things you might be talking about would be maybe if you wanted to set your computer up as a web server or something like that. Some of the utilities you would install, you potentially have to install from the command line. And there is actually a tool called Homebrew, which makes a lot of that a lot easier on the Mac. Saves you from having to go in and do all sorts of builds and stuff like that. You can just go in and just type in brew and the name of the thing you want to install, and it will do it for you. So I'd recommend for anyone who does want to get into the command line side of things or into the terminal side of things, definitely have a look into Homebrew, because it does make your life a whole lot easier when it comes to installing stuff. But we really should have had Sean on this show, shouldn't we? So we could get him to talk about, about terminal.
The command line is just so useful. In fact, I used it back in college when I was in networking classes, server management class and stuff, because on Windows you need programs to SSH into stuff. Where on a Mac, which I was like the only person in the whole class that had a Mac, I just had to remote in. It was real simple. If I could remember all the commands, I could still probably log into the one over at the college because I doubt they've changed any of the passwords. But I was actually even going to make a video for it. I still have the thumbnail for the video. But, it's just I never got around to making it, and now I don't remember how to do it. But it's always been really useful.
Sorry, I'm just giggling because Jay sent something into the group chat that made me chuckle. So my apologies for that.
I didn't do it.
But yes, I mean, things like, I don't know, pinging an IP address or, checking to see if ports are open or whatever. All those sorts of, I'll give you an example of something. So let's just say you wanted to check all of the drives and partitions on your computer. If you go and launch Disk Utility, you say, okay, here are all my drives and partitions there. But you don't actually get to see all of them. For example, you don't get to see the recovery partition with Disk Utility. But if you go into the terminal and use DSKUtil and then DSKUtil list, you will then get to see every single drive partition, the sort of the drive number it's assigned to, all that sort of stuff. So, it does really give you a lot more power, even just doing relatively simple tasks. And then you take, for example, if your computer's having trouble but you can't get it booted, there is disk repair utility. Got to make sure I say this right. FSCK, and that one you can actually boot up into the terminal and run sort of a disk repair without even having to boot into sort of the full operating system. You can just boot into it's like. I think it's hold down Command S for single user mode or something like that. I think that's it. Is that? I can't remember. Well, anyhow, you hold certain keys and you can run a disk check on your on your computer. So very, very, very handy stuff there. Lots of useful tools.
One other thing too is if anybody's using OpenCore, you actually have to use the terminal to actually install OpenCore because you actually got guess what you got to turn off? You got to turn off the protection.
I don't believe you do anymore. You can
yes,
just
you
use
do. Nope. You have to. The first time you actually do it, you have to turn SIP off. And I usually leave it off afterwards because I don't care.
Yeah, there's no point in having it.
Yeah. But in order to do that, you have to boot into recovery mode and then go into a terminal window and turn it off that way because you can't turn off SIP if you're booted into your main partition.
Now, I wonder, is it worth it? Is it worth it for me? Because whatever I'm learning now, 80% of it, maybe more, will translate to what I can do in the terminal on macOS. Is it worth it? Because I've always gone out of my way to look for an app that does what you can do in the terminal, like Disk Utility built in. I will use that. Even the Sierra version, I will use that over terminal if I have a choice. Carbon Copy Cloner is basically a glorified terminal script.
Mm-hmm.
I will find an app that can do it for me and avoid the terminal like the plague. But should I start exploring or not yet?
I think you should.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree.
I think a basic understanding of Unix commands is a very good thing. And you also have to remember that you will come across things in life, in the computer world, where you have no choice but to use the terminal. For example, I recently had to do some what do you call it, ROM flashing type thing of some Blue SCSI blue pill boards. And the only option to do what I needed to do was via the terminal.
Yeah, I had the same with having to. That was a double whammy of suckage. I had to reprogram a firmware chip using a Windows PC, and I had to do all the terminal stuff on there. It was a nightmare. I'm scarred.
Well, you guys, I don't know if any of you guys remember the old Windows days before they got rid of DOS completely, because remember Windows used to run on top of DOS, and you always had the command line built into it. I mean, no matter what, but
I mean, that was around until quite recently, really.
The
I mean, it
command
was.
line will be with us until eternity.
Yeah, I mean it's still there in Windows, but it's not the same as it was back then. It was when you went into that window, it was a DOS window, so you could run a DOS program in that window,
Mhm.
just like you could before. But you can't do that nowadays. I mean,
Mm.
the command line on Windows is a lot different now than it used
Well,
to.
now it's PowerShell. It's not.
Yeah,
DOS.
exactly. Yeah,
They did away with DOS with Windows 2000. Well, Windows NT technically.
Yeah, I was going
Yeah.
to say because Windows has all been built on top of NT lately, hasn't it? Or is
Yeah,
it,
ever since Windows 2000.
yeah. XP
Oh.
was the first one I think
XP
came out
was the
without.
first for all of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, Windows 2000 was the first like public version of NT.
Well, you had NT4 and NT3
Well, I'm saying that was actually like available for
popular.
normal people. Although it really still technically wasn't. I mean, it was still more of a professional operating system, but
Yep.
they just retained DOS compatibility until Windows Vista.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, Windows even still has a command line.
yeah.
But you know,
But at least the Mac still has it, like it
the
originally.
only
started.
way you're ever going to sorry, I'm still waking up. The only way you're ever going to unlock all the more advanced features of the Mac OS is by the command line.
Mhm.
Because Apple just dresses up, the Finder and throws that on top of Unix and says, "Hey, we got Mac OS." Makes it all pretty and user friendly. So,
Well, you got to think of it too. Is pretty much everything you do in the GUI is actually
it's
a
just being translated.
translated to a command line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like I set up a
You,
RAID on my Mac Pro, I had to go into the CLI to do that because you can't point and click and do a RAID setup on Mojave anymore. So,
Yeah, that sucks.
which is annoying as hell.
Mm, I'd agree with that.
But it's actually faster because because you don't have to worry about they don't have to worry about running the graphics interface. So stuff gets done faster.
Yep.
And I vaguely remember someone saying that if you are wanting to copy or move a big batch of files from one location to another, I think copy it might have been, you can actually do it a lot faster in the terminal than you can
Yeah,
doing
probably.
drag and drop.
Well, probably because you're not using all that graphical
Mm.
Yeah, you're not
overhead.
using all the graphical overhead.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can do things like building blank disk images, which of course is a big thing now in the vintage computer world, where we're using things like Blue SCSIs and Zulu SCSI, where you're using disk images, or even with SCSI to SD. When I build, a working hard drive on an SD card for a SCSI to SD, I take that SD card out, I put it in the computer, I use the terminal to make a copy of that disk image, and now that disk image can be loaded up into a disk emulator like Sheep Shaver. I can go in and make little tweaks and changes to it, and then I can copy that image back onto an SD card using an application such as Bellina Etcher, and then pop it straight back into a SCSI to SD. It makes life a lot easier for the vintage people. So I'd say for people who are doing a lot of stuff with modern hard drive emulators like Blue SCSI, like SCSI to SD, that sort of thing, then I would say the terminal is definitely your friend for a lot of that stuff as well. Okay, well, I think we've flogged this topic, so let's move to the next topic.
There is none.
We have a Discord.
we have a
Wow, we finished this one pretty quick, guys.
we did. We're far too efficient, so
Well,
we can just do our normal make our way around the room about stuff that's up and coming and stuff like that, and see if we can make that drag out. So I'll start from the top left and work our way around. Jay, you've bought something on eBay. We're going to be seeing a live stream from you. Is that correct?
That is correct. The liquid damage board that I found should be here, I believe, somewhere mid next week, and then hopefully in the weekend I can stream it.
nice.
Have you got some decent pictures of this one? Do you believe this is one that might have multi-layer damage?
I could have seen that question coming. And as I type eBay.com quickly, it doesn't remember my password. No decent pictures.
The because one of the things with those liquid damaged boards, I mean, sometimes it can be a fairly straightforward process of just, taking off a few components and replacing them with new ones. But at other times it can be where that computer has been run with a terrible short and then it's burned holes through multiple layers of the board. And they're the ones that I like to give Jay to do.
Well, Jay, I have one quick question for you. Remember that Mac Mini one? Did you ever fix that one?
Yes, it's running, but it doesn't have USB ports. So it's not 100% yet, but it is up and running.
Well, that's something.
Yeah.
Is
eBay
that
doesn't
the one
like
where
my
you lost a
password.
bunch of components off of it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness!
What?
What?
Danny's home.
Now, here
And
we
boy, are
have,
my arms tired.
here we have the reason why the show has finished early today, because Steve wasn't here. Do you have
What do you
anything
get
to add
there?
about the iPhone 6s?
I never owned one, but Mike loves his apparently.
Dana does
Best
too.
phone ever.
It was a good phone, other than the batteries.
I mean, I
The
like the
battery-
8, which just has the same form factor. I used that for like 4 years.
Well, I'm giving you the floor, Steve, for a minute. What have you been up to? What's coming up?
Absolutely nothing and absolutely nothing. Fun thing. So I went down to the shore like I do every year, and this box was there last year, and it made an appearance in a thrifting video. Finally broke down and bought this box. Now,
Mac.
I did not pay the $10. I did not pay the $10 for it because there's not actually a modem in there.
Sand.
Someone's random hard drive.
Oh my God.
God.
So it's, for a few dollars, we'll see what's on this 10 gigabyte Western Digital caveat hard drive. And there's some random driver discs that, it's probably dead. It'll make for a good live stream, some clickbait, I guess. Oh, wait, I was not
Will
supposed
it?
to say that out loud. But
What's on the drive?
yeah, the click. Well, that was a good stream. Bye.
What's in the box? Oh, dear.
I like
Okay.
Sean's answer. $10 says viruses.
I agree.
Oh, well, that'll be a fun discovery. Okay, how about you, GT? What's coming up?
Right now, I don't have a whole lot planned. One of these days, I'm going to have to get my Mac ham radio stuff going again. But definitely need to get that
Wait,
going.
you're a ham radio operator?
Yes, I am. And I found out recently that Colin Mister, DOS Dude
Is a
1,
ham,
is
too.
also a ham radio operator.
Yep.
And we actually have the same radio.
Well, God darn it, you better start a channel.
Yeah. So, and I also found out that he only lives about an hour away from me, too.
Well,
So,
they could start a channel.
yeah.
Run, Colin. Run.
Yeah, Colin's in the process of investigating moving.
Got some room in my basement.
I don't know about that. I don't think there's any room in your basement.
Oh, there's plenty of room if you think horizontally.
Oh, dear. What about you, Gertie? You got, you did mention earlier, you've got a whole plethora of videos coming
Yeah,
up.
I was over at Colin's. I even swung by GT's. That's how he knows that they live so close together now, because Colin was here with me.
Even broke a window.
Did you break a window?
When did we break a window?
Never mind.
You better have cracked a window.
It was a stalker joke, all right?
But anyway, I did a bunch of videos with Colin. I even did one with GT. It's a really short one. I might add some more to it.
Just do some dubs over his voice and just extend it for like 5 minutes.
Right now, my video that is going to be live on Patreon in probably about an hour, 2 hours from now, has 11 minutes left on the upload. It will be on Patreon for a day, and then it will go live on the channel. So
Wait, I have to pay you to see it today?
You won't repay me, so you're going to see it soon.
Oh, silly Grudy.
So Jay, send me the link after you get it.
Now, sorry, I have to just jump in here really quickly. My apologies, folks. As I have mentioned to some people before, I have a bathroom renovation, and the builders have just arrived. So I'm going to have to hand over hosting to someone else. I thank you all, and I shall see you next time.
Bye, Bruce.
Tell them hello from us.
Yeah. All right,
They
I'll
don't
go
want to
ahead.
hear from us.
Yeah, I'll go ahead
Okay,
and take
Steve's
it over
in
here.
charge.
All right, so who else we
Bad
not
idea.
talked about? We said talk to Steve, me, Grudy, so Jay.
I got a board with the nail in it. Is that good?
How about you,
What do you
Jay?
mean? What do you mean, Jay? We started with me and the
Oh,
board
did we?
Yeah,
order.
yeah, we-
Yeah.
Okay,
It just shows that GT's not paying attention.
let's go with Mike then. How's that?
Oh God. What are we talking about now? I totally
What you
forgot.
going to be doing the next few weeks or whatever?
Why don't you talk about your thing that you just released? You did a stream, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing another stream on Saturday.
Yay!
I'm going to be rebuilding a PowerBook.
Ah, interesting.
Yes, I'm going to be taking an entire box of parts, making a very good PowerBook, and making one maybe less than good, but hopefully operational.
Neat.
Well, don't forget
That,
you have
the
your choice
G4?
of a power.
What's that? Steve, go ahead.
I thought you were talking to Jay. I said, don't forget, I have a blue SCSI with your name on it. Whether you want a PowerBook one or whatever, you tell me.
Oh, okay. And Prada wants to say hi because
Of course.
we can't have any kind of a live stream in his house without Prada, even though he's fuzzy in multiple ways right now.
And he also
camera
made the
not-
camera go out
This
of focus.
camera sucks.
It's
Man,
allergic to cat.
I have a crappy camera on my streaming machine, and it focuses like instantly. This freaking Logitech
Does not work, apparently.
There
does
you go.
not
Now.
work.
There you go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So anyway, Prada wanted to announce his fuzzy butt. So there he is. Because we can't have
Prada, what are you doing?
we can't have a stream without Prada. You know what Prada's doing? He's going to be up my ass.
Oh, that is graphic.
It's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
visual.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for sharing.
or he's going to be falling off things because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh god.
All right.
He does
Last,
furry butt.
let's see. We got last but not least, we have.
Oh,
my God.
Oh, all right. Last but not least, we have Dana does stuff. Are you doing anything, Dana?
Nope. There, Dana's done.
I'm taking screenshots of Bruce's sneeze video. Well, actually, I
Very
just
important.
remembered I bought a little mini vintage haul on was it Facebook?
And who reminded you of
Craigslist?
such, Paul?
Yeah, some guy found
Just
it.
makes videos that are way too long.
Some guy in New Jersey?
Steve found me a link to a Craigslist ad that was actually here in town. Guy had two SE30s and a 512 and I think like an image writer or something. I smashed it with a hammer, but but no, I'm gonna go through that and there's a couple other things in there. There was like a old CD-ROM and one of those old Apple 3.5-inch floppy drives, which I
fancy.
actually tried to buy one not too long ago and somebody else bought it. Well, it turns out this one was just in the box with all the other stuff. So,
This is
and
not
one of
your
the
first haul
SE30s
either.
is in the original box too. So I had never seen an SE30 box like the shipping box.
That
from
is
Apple.
cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna,
If I knew it was
that.
in that good condition, I would have driven over and gotten it myself.
you drove in.
Joven, yes. This
Drove in.
brain
That's
brain
a
no
new
work
C
good
word.
after come home from vacation.
Justin?
Your brain
don't
Brain
work
dead.
good, period.
Brain no work good. Period. Welcome to Mac 84. Brain no work good. Period.
We don't working noobs.
The link for Justin's stream says live in 6 days, so I think we have some time here.
No.
Well, we gotta just wait here until he streams, right?
Yeah.
Is he
And
in
we'll
the
just
chat
be
right now?
skeletons
Where's
here,
Justin?
right?
Justin,
But,
Ray,
come-
Dana, between the haul you recently did, the haul you did when you were here, You got enough for like an 8-hour stream at least.
Yeah.
Jay
I did-
wants you to stream. That's what he's trying to tell you.
I know he does. Because he likes to sit there and fix computers and then talk to people who are live streaming.
Yep.
And so every single day, who's streaming tonight? Who's streaming tonight?
Yeah, it's like this, guys. If we don't see a message from Jay saying who's streaming, something's wrong.
He's dead.
He's
He's
dead.
dead.
Wendy killed him.
And we're asking if we could help bury the body, which we would all help. Of
And
course,
and
we're
the funny
friends.
thing is, he's the one sitting at the desk repairing things, so he's the one who should be streaming that and let everybody
That's
else
the
watch.
irony of it all. Yeah.
But no, we get this line. Oh, I won't be streaming until the end of July.
Jay, I think Jay's using the excuse that he's shy.
2023. Yeah.
Man, I woke up
I
at
am very
2 o'clock
shy.
yesterday morning and Bruce was streaming. And I'm like,
I know.
holy crap.
He waited until I went to bed, and then he started
Yeah, he
streaming.
did like a 3-hour stream overnight. Didn't
Just to spite you.
He did.
And he still didn't even share the link even.
because we were
Because
all
Luckily,
probably
you had
figured we'd all be
notifications on.
sleeping, like normal people do in the U.S.
That's true. That's a good point.
Oh, Justin removed the video. No, I'm not streaming, so
I-
someone else is gonna have to.
Okay, someone else click it.
I'm not.
All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead, I guess,
I'm,
wrap it up here after we see Bruce sneeze.
Well, you do that while I'm
That's
drinking.
funny.
Oh, no. All right, guys. So make sure you go and visit us on Discord. We have a Discord channel. There's the link to it. We got a lot of different stuff on there. So go ahead and take a look at it. Also, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Like Jay has the notifications for Bruce's channel because you're going to get that notification. And also do this.
Smash that like button.
Yes, we want you to smash it. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And why is that one still up?
I smash it, but I don't want to break my screen.
Ooh. There's gonna be a lot of that coming.
Yeah, we're starting to get more and more little videos as
Ah,
people
shit.
do things on here. So
We need our sparkling grape guy on here.
I know.
No, not
He's
the
on
whole
he's on
thing.
the other channel thing.
Yeah, it takes forever for.
Let's wrap it up.
Mastering.
Yeah.
He's
Also,
here. He
visit
has,
our
he has other
website.
things to do.
Yeah, visit our website, mac-yak.com. Not a whole lot has been changed on it lately. I think we
No,
need to probably
everything
look
has
at that.
changed. Just go on there, click all the ads, and do.
Yeah, there you go. One other place you could go is for tech tips and help, tinkerdifferent.com. Some of these guys that are on this show actually run this site. I think one of them is right there in the middle top.
Not
it is
creepy at all.
Yeah, it's a very good source of information and stuff like that. So go ahead and check that out. So if anybody's got anything else, now's the time to speak up before we say goodbye.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, everybody.